This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ, or Iglesianicristo.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to New Jersey Satellite Studio, where we show you the flavor of life here in the District of New Jersey.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to INCRadio New Jersey Satellite Studio, where today we're going to be talking about the power of change. And joining on today's panel, once again, we have Stefan Anarade all the way from Los Angeles. And actually, I'm very excited for this. I think this might be her first time in a long time. Flo Guillermo from Oregon. I hope I got your state right, Flo. Yeah. Did I get it right? Are you in Oregon? Okay. I didn't know if you were in Washington, in Vancouver. You're in Oregon.
Actually, I don't mean to confuse you, but yes, I am from Oregon. However, I physically live in Vancouver, Washington.
Okay, that's my brain. I'm assuming the border's closed, but okay.
Very close.
I'm geographically challenged, so I see Stefan laughing over there. I'd like him to point out on the map where that is.
I'll show you there one time.
All right. Okay. So today we're talking about change, and I just want to ask our tech to put us on tile when he has a moment. So change gets a bad rap, I think. A lot of times we see that, well, I guess it depends on how you look at things. So let's start off with the panel. Okay. If you think change is a good thing, raise your hand. All right. If you think change is a bad thing, raise your hand. Okay, that's just confusing. All right, Stefan, why is it a good and bad thing? Let's start off with you.
So I know I said it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's actually neutral, right? It's really in the middle, right? And really it all depends, right? It just it changes. It's always either going to be good or bad, right? Just depending on the context of of the situation and how it's being perceived or handled, right? But ultimately, change is what literally depends. It literally changes what determines it's everyone's impact, right? So definitely it's just a willingness to adapt and to learn from that change, and whether it's a good progress or not.
All right, so I will say changing your clothes every day is a good thing, right? That's a good thing. It's a small thing, but it's a good thing. I know it's a silly example, but I just want to keep it simple. What's a bad change? I guess getting a bad haircut or a haircut that you don't like is a bad change. Although, hair, it hopefully will grow back. So, I know eyelashes don't grow back that much. So don't cut your eyelashes. I know that, like, growing up, I feel like have you ever heard this old wives' tale? Like, if you cut a kid's eyelashes, it'll grow back longer. It doesn't grow back. Is that true, Flo?
No, I never did it.
Yeah, I know some moms that cut their kids' eyelashes and it never grew back. So don't cut your kids' eyelashes if you want them to have long eyelashes. That's it. That's all you get. All right. So what are the benefits of change? Is there, using a specific event? We'll do one at a time. I know we have a wealth of wisdom between the three of us here. We all live very rich and active lives.
Yes, we do.
So I'm going to start off with Flo. What is one benefit of change that you'd like to share?
I think for me, Leah, is the benefit is growth, meaning you become wiser, you add wisdom to whatever that's going on in your life. You become a better person, I think, in terms of changes. um I'd like to look at it in that way, that change allows you to be a better person, because maybe you need to make the change to go up maybe a couple notches in life.
All
So
right.
that's a benefit.
That's growth is also kind of scary,
It is.
but growth means I think of plants. I know I always look at the plants behind me. You know, I'm a terrible plant mom. So I get excited when I see little leaves. It's like I'm doing something right. I got self-watering pots. So no,
It doesn't
absolutely.
change.
Growth means progress, right?
Hmm.
In all other things, growth means progress. When you hit puberty and you get taller, you get growth.
Yeah.
That means you're healthy and things are going well. Growing sideways, bigger is maybe not the best growth, but you know,
Yeah, that's right.
it happens, but you know, it's growth. That means your body is growing. So in
Mhm.
general, right? We're talking about growth. So I don't mean to make light of your answer. You're absolutely right. Growth
Yeah.
in self-esteem, growth
Yeah.
in knowledge, growth in I don't want to steal Stefan's answer. So before I go in, Stefan, what is one benefit of change? Go.
So for this one, actually, Kat, this is just being able to be just being able to adapt and to be more flexible. I think that's really one of the best ways, or just like one of the big pluses of change, and just being able to navigate our changes and just becoming more better equipped to handle future our future uncertainties and future other situations, right? And just making ourselves more agile in responding to the life's ups and downs. So definitely just being able to adapt more.
I was going to say you live in Los Angeles. You guys get a lot of earthquakes.
Yes, definitely.
So I think adaptability is very appropriate for your area.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine, like in the middle of walking down the street, all of a sudden everything starts shaking. It's kind of
Yes.
scary.
It's scary, but we're able to adapt and to be flexible in the in everywhere we go to.
Well, I have to say, were you always like this? Where did you always
So
have that mindset? Well, pause a second. I'll go to Flo first. Flo, did you always see change as growth?
Yes,
Really?
I did.
That is awesome. I was not like that growing up. I was the one that had
It's part of
tantrums.
life. It's just part of life, Leah, because
I know.
I
As a
that's
kid,
how I grew up.
I didn't like it when my parents changed like the food we were eating. I was one of those kids that had a hard time changing. So that's wonderful. But you're originally from Hawaii, right?
I am from Hawaii. Um, the only thing I think one of the things that don't really quite change there in Hawaii is we always have constant warm or hot weather there. So it's pretty much all year round. Sometimes we have rain, and yes, hurricane happens, but it's only a short period of time. But for the most part, that's the one thing I think in terms of change is the weather. It does not change that much
I love
as
that.
like here.
I love that. I know, maybe because I grew up in Four Seasons after my family moved from the Philippines, that
Yeah.
I'm like this.
Yeah,
I love the weather in Hawaii. It is consistent. No,
very.
that's nice. I didn't realize the connection, Flo, that yeah, the where you grew up as well influences how you see things. I love that you've always seen growth, changing growth. Yeah, or
Mm.
growth and change. Sorry, I'm mixing my words up. All right, Stefan, what about you, Stefan? Were you always like this about? Did you always feel this way about adaptability and flexibility and change?
no, to be honest, I wasn't. It was really hard for me just growing up. Like I remember in school, you know, just going through all the grades, right? Like it was hard to adjust to every grade level, because like I would be saying, wait, my teacher used to teach me how to do this, right? Or there's a certain way of of me teaching, or of learning how to do math, right? So I would always be like, it would always be difficult for me to like always go up in grade levels, because they're like, oh, this is how you're supposed to change, or teach this, right? So for me it was really hard to like be flexible, and obviously see the actual change, that oh, this is the way how this teacher does this, is much more easier, more efficient, right? So yeah, just growing up was really, for me, it was very, very difficult just to adjust in those changes.
Yeah, but Stefan, when you see those kind of changes happening and you're going through it, and then later on when you're slowly buying into that change, then you realize, oh, now it makes sense. Oh, that's
Exactly. And there's always going to be a light bulb, right? And
right.
he's like, oh, why didn't I did this a long time ago, right? So
Exactly.
it's yeah, it was, again, like I didn't, it was hard for me to see that light bulb, right?
Yeah,
That aha moment, right? So
right.
definitely it was, yeah, it was really difficult.
I think it's that resistance. That's why in the
Yes.
beginning. So then later on, when, like you said, the aha moment or the light bulb, ding,
Hmm.
it's like, oh,
Exactly.
I've been doing that a long time ago.
Speaking of those light bulb moments and changes, so the consensus here is that can anyone avoid change? And what happens if someone doesn't change or is resistant to change? We kind of you guys just touched on that. Who
I,
wants to
I
start?
I think no one can avoid change. It's just somehow gonna happen. That's how the world goes. That's how your own life goes. So I don't think you cannot avoid change. It's just gonna happen whether you like it or not. And for me, I feel like maybe change, like what we talked about earlier, Stefan and I mentioned that we do resist change. And when we resist change, um, and we don't want to change, or if what happens if they don't change, it's like they're gonna stay like that all the time. Do you want to stay like that all the time? So that's the question you want to ask yourself. If is that the way how you want it all the time, forever and ever? I don't think so. So for me, I think if you don't want to change, then you'll just stay right there.
Well, I saw Stefan having some responses to what you were saying, Stefan. What do you want to say to that?
No, no, really, I totally agree with with what she said, and of course, whenever there's always gonna be changes in our lives, right? And we definitely cannot avoid that, right? And whether we like it or not, changes, obviously, just like what we've started in the show, right? Whether it's a good change or a bad change, right? There's always going to be consequences, right? Whether good or bad, right? But it's how we it's how we react to those changes, right? And whether we react to those changes, we have to make sure that to always put everything in a positive life, right? Whether it's going to be a negative change, or we can always put that negative change and turn it into, oh, maybe this is a perspective of life that maybe it has to happen, right? We have to change, and so just like I remember, like we were mentioning something before the show, where the world always is going to change, right? And if we don't change, right, we're just going to be left behind, right? And just like I was referring to like a metaphor where if we're always there's people that are reading other novels, other books, right? But if we're always going to be reading the same chapter, same page, you know every day at 24/7, like how are we going to learn, how are we going to experience all these new opportunities, these new new changes in life, right? So definitely, it's if we're only stuck in that one page, it's we're just reading the same thing every day, and we're just being complacent.
That's true, Stefan. And just to take your metaphor about reading a new book as a place of change, well, if you like that book, I know there are some books that people like to reread every so often. I think in this day of technology, you might not be reading the same paperback novel. Maybe you're reading it on your phone. Maybe you're reading it on a tablet. Maybe you're reading it on another reading device. Maybe you're reading it on your computer screen. Maybe you're listening to it in an audiobook. So these are also other ways to continue reading the same book. But I will say, your apps will suggest things for you to read as well, just as marketing and advertising goes. But that's true. You won't learn, you won't grow. Although I will say, for those who are resistant to technology, and I'm going to use myself as an example, I hated when the keyboard went away on phones. I hated the touch screen. I didn't like it. I thought it was ridiculous, especially like the buttons are so small on the screen. You know, the phone started off very small. But when I found an app where you can just kind of glide along the screen to do predictive text, I was like, oh, how come no one told me that there was this app? So instead of going like this and you have like all the, the thumbs and you're misspelling things and spending all your time texting, you can just go like this and then write out your message. If I had known that existed, then I probably would have made the switch over. And also, a lot of jobs require you to learn technology. You have to learn the new software. You have to learn the new interface. Okay, let's take a pause. I would like to actually ask everyone for an example of what is a difficult change to make or stick to. No one likes this. No one likes this question. Okay, I will start off with saying diet. Okay. So a lot of people make New Year's resolutions and January, and they'll say, oh, I'm going to lose X number of weight. I'm going to get to this size. Or like for me, the one thing that I've had on my list for years is getting abs that I can see. Right. Not so much you might never see them because, I'm not like that on social media. But for me, so this is something that I've stopped doing as a New Year's resolution, but it's something that I always want to get to. And year 2022, I got very close, but then I got lazy. So I think that's something that's very difficult to stick to. But the side effect of trying to get back to that goal for me, because I know it's a change. I'm an emotional eater, so I tend to like reach for food when I feel different emotions. The side effect is that my shape changes and I can fit into clothes that I couldn't fit into before, and my skin gets better and I feel better. Like my body feels better when I eat healthy, and my body just loves it. And it's like, oh, and I have to apologize, like, I'm sorry, I have to eat this cookie. I have to eat this piece of chocolate.
It's so good. I gotta eat it.
I have to have some bubble tea today. I'm sorry. I know we're gonna be sad later. It's like two people in one body. So what about you, Flo? Do you have an example of something that's difficult change to make or stick to?
You mentioned diet, right? So even for me, like I always say, I'm gonna eat more green leafy foods. That's one of those things. When moving here to the mainland USA, a lot of people eat salads. There in Hawaii, we had all kind of plate lunches, like if you're from Hawaii, I know Sister Grace is from Hawaii. We had plate lunches like teriyaki chicken and pork kalua pig and things like that, right? But here, when I moved here, I was like, I noticed a lot of people ate a lot green salads, and that's one thing. Even my sister-in-law, who's sister-in-law Blessing, she's there in our live chat right now. She influenced me or helped me, kind of get into more veggie eating. And I tried. Some days I don't do very well doing that, but I try.
I I know I can go on about food, but real quick, I put chicken teriyaki in my poke bowl, and
You
it's
do?
all greens. I do. My
Wow.
poke bowl is all cooked food. I don't want people to, but yeah. So it's greens and teriyaki chicken, with tofu, etc. But Stefan, before we get carried away, what is one difficult thing that you think is hard, a difficult change to stick to or make?
I mean, okay, I have to admit, I'm still guilty for this, is budget. Yeah, it's definitely until this day, it's still I find it very difficult to really budget, my expenses for the month or for even just a week, right? Because, obviously, for example, like, I go to stores, right? Either grocery stores or just any or even clothing stores, right? And there's times where like, okay, like I'm just going there just for one thing
Same.
only, right? But when I come out, it's either a cart full of load of other miscellaneous things that I don't need, right? Or it's either, oh, I will definitely find excuses to purchase those items, right? So like, oh, I this is for I could wear this for work, right? Or I could wear this for for other occasions, right? So definitely it's until this day, I find it so difficult to even stick to my budget. Like, okay, every time that I get my paycheck, okay, I'm only gonna stick to this X amount of of amount that I need to do for this week, right? So just budgeting. I even tried doing like a budget sheet, right? I tried all of that, and it's until now I still find it hard to do.
Oh, okay. Do
I
you?
can relate. I know my sister-in-law Blessing is gonna hear this, but yeah, I can relate that sometimes I don't stick to my budget. I'm not good at it. Sometimes I'm good at it, and sometimes I'm not. So you know what, Kuya Stefan, when it comes to grocery shopping, because I can go to every aisle and I see something and I buy something, next thing you know, I have a cart full of whatever. I send my husband to go grocery because he's very like stick to the list
Stick to the
and he'll
right.
go in and out. So maybe you got to send somebody out to go shopping for you. Just a
Um,
tip.
Maybe I'll try that.
I was gonna say, Stephanie, you're gonna send your brother. You can definitely send your car, but not someone to get the stuff. Well, I have a suggestion. Do you have the auto deduction for savings and stuff?
I
Because that
do.
will, because if you raise those deductions, you'll have a smaller shopping budget, and so you
True.
won't spend as much. So if you have to trick yourself into not do, because I have to say, Stefan, of the three of us here, you still have your future to plan for.
Yeah, I know. And I keep thinking that. I'm like, I got bills to pay. I got like,
Hey, I have to confess, I also do shopping therapy. So what I do is sometimes, and I'm guilty of this because I say, I work in the city, so I do my walking in the grocery store or in different retail stores, and then the thing for me is I like to touch things. I think there's like something sensory about it. It helps me feel calmer. I'm getting my steps in. But I have in years past learned that if I'm gonna buy anything like impulse shopping, it has to be $20 or less. So
Mhm. That's a good.
that's the
okay,
permission that I give
okay, I'll
myself,
try that.
$20 or less. And then if it's online shopping, I'll leave it in the cart for like a long time.
Oh,
Like,
I'm like
you
that
know,
too.
yeah, my carts are very full, but I always save it for later. Save it for later. And then when it's time to buy essential things, I'll go through that. It's like, oh, do we need this at home? Do I need this? Is it urgent? And that's how I try to stay. I do shopping therapy. I said there's a lot of therapies that I do. Shopping therapy, music therapy. Okay.
Leah and
Yeah.
Stefan, I just want to share before I think I want to share this one. Blessing Guillermo, who also taught me how to budget at some point or another in my whole life. But she's a very fine example of budgeting. She said she loves budgeting after years of trying. So she's done her own, pains of trying to budget. I know her, and so she said I finally got the benefits of budgeting. And I think what the secret of change is finding the why in is important. So you gotta find your why in your budgeting. Do you want to save for your retirement, your future, for traveling? So your why. So that's a little bit of tidbit from us that
Yeah, the ones who are in a different life cycle stuff. And I also, know, like when your budget
I'm
starts,
writing down notes right now.
like in your future when you get married, you might, be the only earner. So, Stefan, that's a big responsibility. Yeah, no, I mean,
Yes.
everyone has to find their own why. They have
Mhm.
to find their own why to make those negative feelings about change something that is beneficial to them.
Yeah.
So, change is unpleasant. Okay, let's just be real. Change is unpleasant when you're going through puberty, your hair, your skin, when you change schools, your friends, when you move to a different state, city, town, different job. Change
Mhm.
is hard. It's challenging. Learning new technology is also frustrating. I have a lot of frustrating moments.
Same here.
I'm trying to learn how to edit. It's very frustrating. Whether it's on your phone. So let's just say change can be difficult. I don't want to say change is easy, but the point of our discussion today is there is power in change, right? That's what we're focusing on. So we're not saying that it's not hard. We're not saying that you'll have negative feelings. We're not saying you won't cry. I mean, physically, I made kind of light of this in our pre-show meeting. Physically, as we get older, our bodies will change. We can eat the same things over and over again, but our bodies will start to look different
That's true.
because your body just changes as you get older. The aging process, your hormones change for men and women, and things don't look the same, and they don't feel the same. So, like, your knee starts to hurt, or your back starts to hurt. Like those are
Definitely. No, really. My knees hurt.
normal. That's normal. Okay, so thank you for that blessing. I would love to. The benefits of budgeting. Sounds like Stefan, you need to be on the show. The
We
benefits.
might need to
Yes.
invite
Budget
her
101.
to talk about
Put me
budgeting.
on the show.
Okay,
Yeah.
so speaking of people in our lives that have helped us get through changes, why do you think it's important to have a leader or a mentor to help guide us through dealing with changes? Or, I mean, is there someone that you think it was a key person to help you get through significant changes that happen in your life? So,
I do.
okay, go ahead, Flo. Let's hear it.
Um, she's in our live chat right now. It's my, like, again, sister, my sister-in-law blessing. Um, I basically grew up with her separately, sort of, because I knew her when I was a young binhi. And so growing up with her and being in touch with her all my life almost is she's one that helped me go through the changes of life. So she having someone is important, and it is beneficial. She's been down that road so many times, especially with having children, family, and just the facts of life. And so for her, I'm grateful to have her, because without her, she helped me grow. She helped me realize a lot of things, and she helped me realize the hard stuff. Sometimes she knows that I don't like to hear the bad stuff, or the things that might make me feel uncomfortable. But she knows how to say it in a way that won't make me feel bad. And so I've learned to adapt to the different changes of life. And so for me, it is her that helps me get through all the different changes of being a mom, being a wife, being the finance manager of your family, a lot of other things, even the emotional intelligence and all of that. So having someone and her mentoring me um, has been a life change for me. It is because of all those changes of life that she's my go-to person for things like that. And not that because she's my sister-in-law, we knew each other before we became sister-in-law. And then I'm even more blessed because she's my sister-in-law now and we get to have each other for life.
That's amazing. That's very rare. And I know her name is Blessing, but that is a blessing.
She is a blessing.
That's amazing. From childhood all the way to later
Till
in life
now.
through, I mean, it is it's so helpful to have someone explain to you the facts of life in a way that you can understand it and manage yourself. So I don't want to take away from what Stefan's gonna say. So Stefan,
Go for it.
what's your do you have anything to say about this, about having a mentor or a leader to guide you through changes in life?
No, really, it's really great, to have, people in our lives, that can definitely, be there for us, right? And especially when we go through our changes, right? And obviously, having it's definitely important for us to have a leader, or even just to even have a mentor in our lives, because they have, they teach us so many things in life, whether it's through experiences, through perspective, clarity, or even just emotional support and encouragement, right, for us, right? These are the people that we stick to, and they will be in our corner, right, and will be in every step of our way in our journey, right, through life. Whether it's our parents, our our definitely, our family members, right, or even just spiritual leaders, right? As Christians, we all have, yeah, so we all have these spiritual leaders that, that we look up to, that, when it comes to spiritual, if we need any spiritual strength, we go there, we go to them, for advice, right? Whether it's through life, or, whether it's through, spiritual advice, for us to, be encouraged, to always be, to always making sure that, whether whatever decisions that we make in life are always going to be the right way, right? And going, in transitioning to the spiritual aspects of it, right? I think prayer, is definitely, one of the greatest tools, in our, in our equipment belt that we can definitely use, right? And if we pray, constantly, and we really rely, on God we will definitely, see the greatest changes we'll ever see, right? And because of that, because definitely when it comes to people in our lives, God will definitely put the right people in our lives, right, to make that positive change, right? Whether it's through good, through the bad, they will be there in our corner to support you, to support us. So definitely, again, just having those people in our lives, whether it's our mentors, teachers, teachers are really, props to shout out to all the teachers, because they are, they teach, our children, the future children, to, always making sure that, we're always doing good in school, right? And especially
I
our
was gonna
parents,
say stuff into your kids.
no, our future children, our future children, right? And to but yeah, but to the future children, and to also, our parents, or our parents are our number one, our cheerleaders, right? So
Yeah.
definitely just those people.
Well, Stefan, I was waiting for you to shout out your brother, but I guess he's part of the family group that you
Family too, of
earlier.
course.
Okay, so just to, I know I'm looking at the time, and I hate to end our discussion, but just to wrap up, just summarize our last question. So it's important to have people in your lives that support you, because like what we said, changes are difficult. And if there is anything that's constant, are the people who take care of us in our lives, are preserving our relationships with our family, our mentors, the important people in our lives, and as Christians, our relationship with God, who nothing is impossible with. Is a great source of strength to get through the difficulty and changes, which we all know are good things for us. All right, so we are on our last question. Sorry, we have to wrap things up. I know Stefan just looked at the clock. Okay, one piece of advice that you want to give to someone who's having challenges embracing change, or anything, one last thing you want to say about the power in change. We're going to start off with Flo.
Power of change, it's really up to you if you want to change. It's all, like we said earlier, change is constant, and whether we like it or not, it's gonna happen. However, it's up to us if we want to do it. It's up to us if we will, the way how we'll approach it. If we're going to approach it and we don't know how, go ask somebody that has tried it before. I always try and do that, because if there's a change that is uncomfortable for me and I don't know how to go about it, I'm going to go and think, who can help me get through this? Who can help me get through this? And if you can't find someone that that can't help you through it, then we all have our Almighty God to pray to. And that's why, like Stefan said, prayer is such an important tool to have. And all you got to do is whisper, please, God, help me, because I don't know how. And I promise the things will come in front of you. The right people will come in front of you, and they will be your answers. God will give you your answers. And one thing too, embrace the change, because you don't know, down the road, it might be something really great for you.
Wow, what a mic drop. Sorry, Stefan, you're next.
So I'm gonna make another metaphor, because I love making metaphors. It's like learning how to drive, right? For those for those viewers, or for the for the audience who who don't who are still learning how to drive, right? It was, for us, before we were driving, it was really difficult. Like, we were unsure, like, oh, I don't know, like, I don't know if I don't want to, I'm not sure if I want to drive, right? And we had our parents teach us, or we had a driving instructor, right? If we were fortunate enough to have a driving instructor, right? So throughout that whole process, right, it was hard, right? It was, we found it so difficult just to learn how to drive, right? And we had to learn all the rules and stuff like that, right? So it was really hard, right, in general. But at the end, while we once we finally got our driver's license, right, or when we finally passed our driving test, right, we were so ecstatic, we were so happy, we could finally drive, right? So just that feeling alone, having that feeling is one of the best feelings. And if you want to get that feeling of achievement, feeling that, oh, I was able to do that, just by thinking about that, just by wanting to change, I think that's all the power for you. That's all the power that you need to get that last final push to get you to change. And whether, I know change is definitely going to be difficult, it's going to be hard, that's no guarantee, right? It's not going to be with, you're not going to do change with flying colors, right? But if you're willing to do the work, and if you want to make that change, all we got to do is just put our minds to it. And and that will, in the long run, you're going to be so happy that you had that that mind to change, whether it's for the good or for the bad. Definitely, we are not, disregarding the difficult challenges, right, that we're going to go through life, right, especially all the changes that we are going through. But at the end of the day, it's going to be really, really, you're going to really be proud of ourselves because we did that change.
Yeah, no, I agree, Stefan. It sounds like, knowing your why, learning how to drive. I love that metaphor because it takes you places. There's limitless opportunities when you make big changes like that. And it's a way to level up towards what you think what you want your future to look like, right? And less relying on people. There's so many practical applications to learning how to drive. Of course, there's always a downside, like, oh, I gotta get a car, insurance, et cetera, et cetera. But you did accomplish it. You did level up, and it is an achievement. Not everyone can drive well, and just a fun thing for me is that I know, Stefan, you have a car that can drive itself. So I think that's hilarious that you would use that example. All right, we are almost out of time. So before we go to our shout outs, we're going to ask our tech to play our CFO in action. Oh, maybe he's not ready.
CFO in action.
The Binhi members in the District of New Jersey recently convened for their monthly meeting, focusing on the vital topic of loyalty to God and to the church administration. With open hearts and minds, they delved into discussions on the importance of unwavering commitment to their faith and the leadership that guides them. Through scriptures, prayers, and sharing of personal experiences, the youth encourage one another to remain steadfast in their devotion, just as God remains faithful to His people. They also explored ways to support the church administration, recognizing the value of unity and cooperation in their spiritual journey. As they left the meeting, the youth felt rejuvenated, reaffirming their pledge to stand together in loyalty and service to God and the Church of Christ. The Children's Worship Service members, or CWS, of the local of Philadelphia were able to meet up together to participate in the CWS drawing and coloring activity. There, the CWS members watch a tutorial video to guide them on how to draw race cars using a pencil and some colored pencils. This further strengthened their bond with one another as brothers and sisters in the faith, as well as improved their drawing skills. Brethren with responsibilities as technical support for video streaming, or TSB, from various congregations in the District of New Jersey recently gathered at the House of Worship of Wrightstown. In a special worship gathering led by District Supervising Minister Brother Alex Reyes, TSB officers were once more reminded the importance of their sacred duties, especially their duties that pertain to the worship service gatherings conducted inside the Church of Christ. Through special gatherings like this, brethren from the District of New Jersey continue to be inspired to remain strong in faith and to continually improve their service to God. Led by District Minister Brother Alex M. Reyes, the brethren in the District of New Jersey continue to remain zealous in their duties and obligations to God. And this was our CFO in action the last week. From the District of New Jersey, this is Sister Marisol Dagotot. More on CFO in action next week. See ya!
All right, thanks for that, Sister Marisol. And we want to, of course, go to our panel for their quick shout outs. Monoflo.
Yes. Thanks for having me, Leah, for here on INCRadio, New Jersey. It's great being here this morning. Greetings to all of you there, the brethren, and of course the District of Oregon, and all our ministers as well, and our friends and loved ones who's listening to us this morning. I just want to plug in. Join us on INCRadio Oregon this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. I believe that's 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll be talking about talking with our brethren on, or our audience, about what is burnout. That's our topic
Ooh.
this afternoon. So come join us. It's going to be a very good topic to talk about.
Gonna have to watch that one, even on replay, Flo. All right, what about you, Stefan?
I'm gonna make this really quick, but just a quick shout out to INCRadio New Jersey, for always having me. It's great to always be at the show, because I definitely can talk to you, Kat, and to also see everyone in the audience, especially in INCRadio New Jersey. And a quick shout out to also my dad, who will be celebrating his birthday tomorrow, which he will be turning 70. So the big 70. So happy birthday to you, Dad, brother Cornelio Honrade. He is celebrating his birthday tomorrow. So happy birthday to you, Dad.
Oh, happy birthday to your dad, Stefan. That's awesome. 70 is a nice number as well. And thank you to all of the live viewers in Team Live Chat. We're so sorry we're out of time. We can't read all of your comments. But we thank you so much for tuning in, and we will read those comments on next week's show. I just want to say hello to everyone and see you tomorrow at the district pickleball tournament. So we want to thank everyone. We want to thank everyone who tuned in. We'd especially like to thank the church administration for their continuous support in INCRadio, for allowing us to have this platform to stay connected and learn together. We especially thank our beloved executive minister, Brother Eduardo Manalo, and our substitute president and TFO coordinator, Brother Angelo Manalo. Before we say goodbye, we again thank our panelists and our audience, our replay viewers. We hope today's topic has given all of us reasons to be excited about changes happening in our lives, and inspiration and encouragement to also make the changes that we need to make in our lives. See you on next week's episode. Have a great weekend, everyone. Take care.
Bye.